We're starting this with an M113 at Camp Pickett, Virginia, getting ready to load on the flat car to go back to Fort Meade, Maryland. I'm showing this to emphasize that this is an armored unit that I was in, and we tend to think of Vietnam as helicopters only. We were an armor unit. This is the farewell parade that every unit has before it goes into combat. This is another scene of that parade at Fort Meade, Maryland. This is the morning we were getting ready to get on the buses to go to the airfield. Another shot. You'll notice some of the men have M16s, some have M14s. This is the USNS Daniel I. Sultan that took us 18 days to go to Vietnam. This is an interesting scene. Aboard the ship, there was the 34th, 2nd Battalion of the 34th Armor, as well as the 1st Squadron of the 11th Armored Cavalry. We were the largest unit, so I was the ship's adjutant, because I was the adjutant of the largest unit. The night before we landed in Vietnam, we had a church service, and it was pretty well attended. This is the night we landed off Vietnam. You'll see that the man in the center has an M14, the man on the right has an M16. We didn't all have M16s at that time, only the line units. And that night in the hills, you see in the background, there was a firefight. And as it got dark, you could see the red and the green tracers going from the two sides. Ours were pinkish red, theirs were yellow-green. And it got very quiet among the troops looking at Vietnam. This is our first combat operation. That was my tracked vehicle. It was an M577 command post vehicle, and we were going south of the staging area. It wasn't much of an operation, but it was our first one. This is the 577 in its field position. It had a built-in tent and a generator on the front, and the barbed wire is the concertina that we put out when we went into our circular position that we called a logger. This is the beginning of the base camp. We opened a base camp near a rubber plantation. That's the center of the photograph, is a rubber plantation. And the next few shots will be of the opening the base camp. This is taken from the Armored Cavalry Assault Vehicle. This is Lieutenant Neil Keltner getting his first lieutenant bars. We didn't have any, so I ran over to the mobile PX, which was a semi-trailer truck, and I got some Wrigley Spearmint gum, which was a silver bar, and that's how we did it. This is me on the left reading the promotion orders. The vehicle in the back is the Armored Cavalry Assault Vehicle that was our basic fighting vehicle along with the tank. Now I want you to notice the ACAV toward the center left has its swim fins down. Now we couldn't swim them because we took the side panels off. They were getting stuck with mud. But you put the front piece down to help keep the anti-tank rounds from having their fullest effect. Another base camp scene. This is the tent that I lived in at the base camp initially. Notice that we dug down into the ground for protection from mortars, and notice that you're always dirty. Even your uniforms, when you've washed them, don't really come clean. That red mud gets everywhere. This this is, we're jumping now into a completed base camp, and this would be the 1969 area. This is Camp Inari, and I just wanted to show you what the completed formal base camps look like. Most base camps had major perimeter guard posts, and this is typical of them. I want to show this not because it was a museum, but it was typical of the barracks, and it's the only close-up I have. Notice that the slanted siding above about 5 feet, and that's to let air circulate through to keep them cool. And of course there's a mosquito screen behind that. This is from the 69 trip, and it's a classic field combat support base. It's circular. The artillery can fire in 360 degrees. There are bunkers built in for to protect against grand attack, and of course they use the clearing techniques of the Rome plows, which are two bulldozers with a chain between them to tear up the ground so that there'll be plenty of fields of fire. Another look at a close-up. You can see the artillery emplacements in the middle. Now we're in Da Nang, in Nha Trang, in the on the coast with the Central Highlands behind them. That white item that you see overlooking the city is a giant Buddha, a great big Buddha. I took this from the aircraft as we were getting ready to land. Christmas Day, 1966. That's Hank Snow Jr. and his group. And we put them on a flatbed, and the engineers put up a parachute to shield them from the sun. We were not a big enough unit to get Bob Hope or Nancy Sinatra or any of the big USO shows, so we got sort of the second level shows, but we thoroughly enjoyed the show on Christmas Day of '66. This is a wonderful thing that I spotted up in near Cu Chi. The 25th Division had a rest area, and that sign that you see is modeled after the Holiday Inn sign back in the States at that time. They would bring the troops in from the field if they'd been on a long operation, take their weapons away from them, let them have showers, beer, some good food, let them sleep, let them rest, write some letters, and then after the second day or so, they'd give them their weapons back and they'd clean them, and they would go back to the base camp and get ready to go to the field again. It was sort of a system to give them a good rest. I thought it was a brilliant idea, and I love the Holiday Inn logo.